What's going on, guys? You're watching Sneaker News on YouTube, and today we're unboxing the Air Jordan 3 Mocha. So, Mocha 3s, you guys know the story. These dropped in 2001 and sat hard on shelves. And for some reason, as years passed, these started to kind of rise in value with pairs going up for $500, $600, $700, what have you. And there's all this debate, especially on social media, whether or not these were actually clearance shoes or not. And people wonder why these even sold for a lot in the first place. And there's a lot of reasons why these went for so much money in the latter part of the 2000s. So in this video, we're going to discuss the infamy of the Mocha 3s. We're going to talk about the colorway, why that shoe sold for so much for some reason, and why these are probably going to sit on shelves again. Right off the bat, Jordan 3 Mocha, the color comes from the fact that where the traditional elephant prints are is now this mocha brown. The outsole is brown and white. The elephant print is like a brown on brown tone. The Jumpman is brown, the eyelets are brown, the forefoot eyelets are silver, and the Jumpman on the back is also brown. So very straightforward colorway, and the reason why it sat on shelves back in the day is pretty simple actually. And you got to think about the time that the shoes dropped. It was the early 2000s. This is right before Michael Jordan returned to the NBA with the Wizards. And Jordan brand as a whole, they were kind of focusing on extending Air Jordans beyond the basketball court. And the only way to do that is to make them appealing for off the court. So while you had like the true blues and the black and red and the white cements and all that for the court, they wanted to experiment a little bit and test out a colorway that seemed to be more fitting for off the court lifestyle footwear. So they went with the brown because brown is something that you typically find in dress shoes or boots or things of that nature. So they dropped that shoe. And again, the predecessor to this was the Air Jordan 4 Retro LS or lifestyle releases. Those were the Oreo 4s and the white and Columbia 4s. And so this was a little bit more ambitious because, like we said, they went with like a color that you typically find in dress shoes and boots and things like that. And for the most part, they sat on shelves. Some cities, shoes just sell. And New York City, LA, big urban cities where Jordans were really, really popular, I'm sure these sold out on retail. I know some spots just sold out of these, but for the most part, these really, really sat on shelves because it's just really not that appealing. At the time, too, $125 was a lot for a pair of sneakers. So it's understandable why, because these weren't meant to sell out in the first place. These are a bit of like an experiment, like a case study, if you want to call that, because not long after these, there really isn't any other Air Jordan that released in these kind of lifestyle, off the court, more grown man sort of colorway. They kind of went back to the more colorful tones. So like we said, even though these sat on shelves, they started to kind of gain a little fame after that, and they started to resell for quite a lot of money. And getting your hands on a dead stock pair proved to be more and more difficult, and that's because the Air Jordan 3 started gaining so much more fame. And at that time, Jordan 3s were just really, really hard to come by. I mean, they had the 2001 release with the black cement with the Nike Air, and then they dropped again in 2003 in the white cements. But outside of that, we would not see another Air Jordan 3 Retro for a really, really long time. So I think the general scarcity of the Air Jordan 3 played a big role in why these went for so much. And I think as Air Jordan fans started to grow in number and more collectors started coming out of the woodwork and people were starting to spend more money on Air Jordans, the desire for these just multiplied because it is such an odd shoe. It's an Air Jordan 3, one of the most beloved silhouettes at that time and even today, in a colorway that seems so off the wall for Jordan brand. So again, yes, these did sit on shelves. These did hit outlets for as low as $29. That's what I remember. I remember even going around like forums where I used to buy sneakers and dead stock pairs would sell for $300, $400, $500, and it still had that outlet price tag of $29.97. I just can't forget that image. But again, Jordan brand decided to bring it back in 2018 as a celebration of the 30th anniversary of this shoe, and it dropped on December the 15th. However, it's a great shoe. Quality is great. There are a lot of Air Jordan 3s that dropped this year, but maybe the timing didn't really help because December is such a busy time for sneakers. Even November, I mean, just in this month alone, you had the Concords, you had the Fear of Gods, you had all these Yeezys. It's just really hard to make room for another $200 pair of shoes. These are $190 retail, but you got to consider tax and all that kind of stuff if it applies to your state. If you're a fan of the Air Jordan 3, this is a good pickup, and we suspect that these will probably hit sale racks soon, just like every other Air Jordan did. And just because they sat on shelf doesn't mean they were a bad shoe. It's just everything kind of hit sale racks in 2002 or 2001. Everything went on sale. I mean, even black red Air Jordan 11s were at outlets for $100. So it's not that the shoe was hated, it's just that was just the nature of the sneaker retail game, where people weren't just buying shoes out at retail and flipping them on StockX. That's not how it worked. Today's a different game where everything has a resale value before the shoe even releases, but this is a prime example of, if you like it, wear it. If you don't like it, move on. If you're trying to find a deal, we guarantee you that these will probably be available for under retail. There's gonna be coupon codes, there's gonna be all that good stuff. It's a Jordan 3. If you're a fan, it's a clean looking shoe. If the white brown colorway is for you, you should definitely go cop a pair. There's gonna be a link below of stores that actually have them where you can buy them right now. And if you're a savvy shopper, you gotta look for a coupon code. But that's the story of the Jordan 3 Mocha. It did sit on shelves. Maybe they could have done something a little bit differently. Maybe they should have just let the Mocha 3 kind of legend sort of live on. They weren't actually marketing it as the sleeper shoe that went on to be like a popular shoe. It was just sort of the narrative that sneaker blogs and collectors from the back in the day would communicate. So if you like it, cop it. If not, it's not for you. Just because it's not reselling for triple retail doesn't mean it's a bad shoe. And that's something that the younger generation really needs to understand, that while the resale market can dictate how hyped something is, it doesn't say it's a bad shoe. There's OG sneakerheads will agree that their collections were built on clearance shoes and shoes that were on sale. Like me personally, I shopped exclusively on the sale racks and at outlets. I could not afford full retail shoes. I think that's just how it was, So it makes me wonder how kids in high school can afford multiple pairs of shoes a week, but that's another conversation. So again, Jordan 3 Mocha, check the links below if you're trying to cop a pair. We think it's a clean shoe, but definitely can wait a few days and cop some sort of sale. So thanks for watching. Let us know if you cop these or not in the comments below, and we'll catch you in the next video.